say that you don't believe in things that there is no evidence for.
Right.
So, yeah.
Apart
So
from
I
a
just
few things that we know aren't true, but I believe them anyways.
right. So, what do you think about like philosophical evidence for a higher power?
There's no such thing as philosophical evidence.
Okay. Yeah. So I make
Okay.
the I
No,
make
there
the
there is
trans.
there isn't.
Can I make an argument and we'll see?
Well, I'm gonna front load your argument with a different argument. All arguments made by Matthew Kasubis are false. You are Matthew Kasubis. Your arguments will be false.
Why?
I have a valid philosophical argument that proves that whatever you're going to say is false
Why? Why is that?
because it's
We can
guaranteed.
use
The
sources and
argument
stuff.
guarantees it. There's no contradiction in the argument.
All right. Well, all right. So if I just present to you like a claim and I argue for it to be true, can you defend it? Can you defend your like point of view on it?
It's not my argument, it's your argument. If you make an argument, if you have an argument that is logically valid, you need to provide evidence, unless it's an argument about like what words mean. Like, why is it? You don't need to get me a bachelor to prove to me that bachelors aren't married, because it's just true by definition. There's nothing more there that we need to really go over, unless we don't agree on the meaning of words, I guess.
Yeah. So all right, I'm just gonna say this. I make the transcendental argument that
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
without a god, logics, reasoning, and ethics become impossible. And when I say impossible, I don't mean that us humans don't do them. I mean that there's no justification for those things.
You know, I just know that you can't make this argument with your eyes closed. You know how I know that?
I heard you say, "I know you can't make this argument." Something, something.
With your eyes closed.
Why is that?
Because you're reading a script.
What script?
A
I'm actually
script.
like sitting on the side of my bed right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so can you explain where we get the justification to do these things without grounding it into reality, because that would be arbitrary?
Why would that be arbitrary? So without
Is what?
appealing to
Yeah,
something other
define
than your
reality.
God, that's arbitrary and nobody's allowed to do that. Wow. So you're the one with a burden. So convince me that your argument is actually true. Establish the trueness of your premises.
Yeah, if you can't make an argument against my argument, then I'm just gonna assume that you don't have any reason to not believe in a god.
Right. So you have no evidence. You can't back up your claims.
I'm making
You're
an
just
argument. It's a
saying,
transcendental argument. Can you argue against it or not?
if God exists, then that means that there is a God defeating penguin that necessarily must exist. So if you're going to claim that God exists, the God defeating penguin necessarily exists. Therefore, God doesn't exist.
I lost you after God defeating
Yeah,
penguin.
that's
What
because
is
you're
it?
not very good at philosophy. So, anyways,
You
establish
you can't
that your
even define
premises are
though.
true.
Yeah, so explain to me where we get the justification
What
for
I
these things.
said was, I didn't ask you to see if there's something I can or cannot do. What I said was, establish that your premises are true. See, you can't make this argument with your eyes closed because you have to keep going off the app in order to read a script, in order to know what you're going to say next. Nobody can hear you, Matthew, because you're not here on TikTok. That What is with these pre-suppers rage quitting on tag within the first 5 seconds of being asked to do anything? This is the third time this has happened. You say the Big Bang is highly probable, but we don't know for a fact if it happened. So,
Right,
like,
because I mean, it ultimately it is a theory, so it's our best, educate like the most best probable guess. Yeah, that it did occur. We also do have some things that can point towards it likely being something that could have occurred. However, we can't ultimately say that it's like an absolute truth that it did occur.
I mean, science doesn't deal in absolute truths. So that's not
Right.
really, I mean, you can say that, but we're not saying anything special by doing that because maybe atoms don't exist. Maybe general relativity isn't real. That's always, I guess, an option.
Right. So let me ask this. So, like, in regards to your best evidence, would you say that's things like the cosmic microwave, things like that?
Redshift, microwave background radiation, distribution of matter in the universe. That's, I guess, it.
And when you like say this, do you say what do you think the probability that it occurred is, based on your subjectivist opinion? You think that's like 100%? Do you leave room for the possibility that maybe there's something else, or do
Well,
you pretty much say?
there were different ideas, like the I don't know if it's called plasma theory or what it's called, and steady state theory, but those did not make. There weren't any successful scientific predictions that came about from those. Whereas for the Big Bang, the CMB was the biggest thing because that was hypothesized decades before it was discovered, and it had exactly the characteristics that they thought it would. It's the background temperature was within like a 10,000th of a degree of what they thought it would be.
Sure. Okay. Also, I'm gonna reset my TikTok because I have a slight echo on my end. Can I come back and discuss the creationism with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and also I saw your video with Kent Hovind. That was pretty good. So
Thanks.
I like the opener before anything started. You called him like a fraudster, a wife beater, all these things.
Oh yeah, well, I wasn't planning on it, but he started it.
Since space, I think it's, from what I know, it's created by the Big Bang, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say
Like,
created. The universe we see is the Big Bang is really just what the universe does. It's not an external cause that made the universe that did something to the universe. It's just what the universe does.
from what I know, that density and heat just combined, and then like it caused the universe, and then from there just slowly expanded.
Well, no, the expansion is incredibly rapid. No, in terms of what initiated the Big Bang, the Big Bang is, like I said, it's the state of the universe. We can call it that. Before it started expanding, we don't think that the universe didn't exist. It was perhaps just different. So it was perhaps the universe was simply like a naked quantum state or something like that. Now, there are ideas about quantum fluctuations and virtual particles interacting that initiated that Big Bang inflation, but we don't really know with very much confidence what made that happen.
Oh, okay, because from like, I mean, I've done a little bit of research, and like I've heard that it was like an eternal loop, like the universe contracted,
It
like it
it
was
could
like it's
be.
an eternal loop, right?
Yeah, it could be. We
But
just don't know.
my question is like, space is expanding into, like, we don't know what it is, but like most probably it's probably nothing, right?
Well, so I don't think that nothing exists because that's just absurd. Is there anything other than the universe? Now, this is where it just doesn't make a lot of sense, but the universe isn't expanding into anything. There's nothing that isn't the universe. The universe is all that there is. The universe is just spreading out, and the things in the universe are just getting more spread out. But it's not the case that you could be like outside the universe and look at it getting bigger.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's kind of confusing.
It's
Yeah.
severely confusing.
Yeah, but it's just like I've like, okay, if nothing, like, pretend, okay, let's just disregard nothing, right? It's like I just can't wrap my, if it is an eternal loop, I just can't wrap my head around like how it even began. But I don't think
No,
that
me
we have the
neither.
science for that, because like, because we think of it as beginning ending, but there probably might not be a beginning or ending, right?
Yeah, if time is cyclical, then it simply has no beginning and no end.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's like I used to think that there was some like
I don't know, some supernatural power that created like the density and heat or something. But now that it's never ending, it's like I just don't think we're that advanced yet. Maybe in the future we'll find some answers, but
Yeah, the important thing is we don't know. So whenever somebody tells you that the Big Bang points to God does not exist or God does exist, that's really just silly. We can speak with high confidence about what we know has been going on for 13.77 billion years. Before that, we can't.
The way I understand it, time and space are connected, right? Or am I like stupid?
They're basically a unified thing. So like we thought electricity and magnets were two different forces. Turns out electromagnetism is a combined force.
Okay. So then cause and effect didn't work the same way at like the moment of expansion?
It wouldn't work in a like classical macro sense like we're used to, but that's the reality of quantum states. I guess that's what I would say.
Okay, and then because I understand like the steps. It goes beginning, and then for like a few 100,000 years, the universe isn't opaque yet, right? Because matter's still too dense for light to escape.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I've had plenty of people, like my dad is a professional idiot.
He does it for a living.
Like, basically, yeah.
Does he have a radio show?
God, no.
Well, when he gets
Sadly,
a radio show, then
actually,
he'll be a professional idiot.
Yeah, no, he's thought about it before. It's an awful thought to have. But like, he's had arguments with me, and like, he's always said like, oh, like I know I'm religious and like I'm based on faith, but like you are too because you believe in the Big Bang.
Yeah, that's
which
just
never
dumb.
makes sense. It's
we have scientific evidence of the Big Bang. It's not faith.
Yeah, like you were telling the last guy, like anyone that says they know what happened before it is just lying or stupid.
Yeah, you can have a belief, fine, but don't say you know.
Yeah, it's. I'm not like a professional, and I didn't pay attention at school. I learned more after I got out of school. But like you were telling the last guy, there are like really weird concepts within the Big Bang that like the universe isn't expanding into something that isn't the universe itself is expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far into like reading anything. You answer that in your book because I just ordered it.
Oh, nice. I mean, I don't really, I don't remember. I don't know if I talk about like what it means that a universe is expanding in there. You'd think I would remember because I wrote it, but apparently not.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping I can read it and maybe pass it on to someone that's significantly dumber than me, so that maybe they can get smarter.
Well, here's hoping.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, thanks.
For evolution to occur, we kind of have to have two conditions met. One is the population you start with splits into two different populations, and they're going to be in different geographical areas, and the selective pressures in those geographical areas are going to be different. So that's basically what causes selection to be different in the two environments, so they become different. Like chimpanzees and bonobos, we actually know what happened. I think it's the Congo River, but I'm not totally sure. But all bonobos are south of it, and all chimpanzees are north of it.
Ooh,
so that
cool.
that barrier caused them to split and become different because the environments are very slightly different. It doesn't even have to be the environment. I mean, genetic drift can make it happen, but they have to be separated because if their genes keep overlapping, then it just homogenizes things and there is no real separation. The other thing that has to happen is, I kind of already said this, but the environment has to be different. So for human beings, with our current technological state, although we live in very different parts of the world, we are able to intervene so much with technology that environmental selective pressure is so low, and we're such a highly mobile species that thing about keeping the gene pools separate really isn't a reality. So it's pretty hard to pick, for me at least, it's really hard for me to picture how we would become like a full-blown different species. Again, without without forcing it through technology. Now, if we go to a different planet and people start living there, even if we're not doing gene editing, then I can imagine them becoming like a different species. But that would kind of be the only way. Maybe 100,000 years from now, the humans on North Sentinelese Island will be a different species of human, which honestly, I hope not, because that would mean that people would say they don't have the same rights that we do.
Ooh. Okay. Thank you so much. I'll let you do your thing.
Space racism is gonna be crazy. Dude, you're so spacist. Space racism.